This is the story of a girl named Maya. She was a quiet, hard-working girl who worked in an office in a tall building in the middle of a busy city. Maya usually went home by 6 p.m., but that night, she had to work late. It was a cold, rainy evening. The sky was dark, and the streets outside were almost empty. Inside the office building, most of the lights were off. The other workers had already gone home. Maya was the only one left on the 13th floor. The office was very quiet. So quiet that she could hear the ticking of the clock on the wall and the sound of the rain tapping the windows. Finally, after finishing her work, Maya packed her bag and left her desk. She walked slowly through the empty hallway toward the elevator. She was tired and couldn't wait to go home. She pressed the button for the elevator. After a few seconds, the elevator door opened with a ding. The inside of the elevator was clean, but a little dim. The light inside flickered once, but she didn't think much of it. Maya stepped in and pressed the button for G, which means ground floor. The doors closed, and the elevator began to move. She expected it to go down, like always, but instead, it started going up. First, it went to the 14th floor, then the 15th floor, then. Something strange happened. The elevator didn't stop at the 15th floor. Instead, it went to the 16th floor. Maya was confused. She stared at the screen that showed the floor numbers. It clearly said 16 in red glowing numbers, but she knew for sure. Her office building only had 15 floors. She had worked in that building for over a year. She had never seen or even heard of a 16th floor. She began to feel a little nervous. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe the elevator was broken? The elevator stopped. There was a soft ding. The doors slowly opened with a creaking sound. At first, Maya didn't move. She just stood there, looking out of the elevator. She expected to see another office hallway, or maybe a janitor's closet. But what she saw was completely different. It was a hallway, yes, but not like the other floors. This hallway was dark, with only a few flickering lights on the ceiling. The walls were dirty. The paint was peeling. The carpet looked old and full of dust. It looked like no one had been there in many, many years. It didn't feel right. Still, Maya took a small step forward. She wanted to look around, maybe see if there was a sign that explained where she was. She called out, "Hello?" But no one answered, only silence. She looked around carefully. The hallway had no windows, no sounds, no signs. Just one long hallway, with a single door at the very end. The door was slightly open. It seemed to be calling her, like it was waiting. Maya hesitated. She didn't know if she should go. Her heart was beating faster now. A small voice inside her head said, "Don't go in there." But curiosity is a strong feeling. She wanted to know what was behind that door. She thought, maybe it's just an old storage room. Maybe someone forgot to remove this floor from the system. So, slowly and carefully, she began walking toward the door. Each step made a small creaking sound on the floor. The air felt colder the closer she got. She reached out her hand, touched the door, and pushed it open. And that's when things started to get really strange. But I'll tell you about that in the next part. Maya had taken the elevator late at night from the 13th floor, but instead of going down, the elevator strangely went up to a floor that wasn't supposed to exist, the 16th floor. Now she stood just outside the elevator, looking at a dark, quiet hallway. The air felt cold. The floor was dusty. The walls looked old and dirty, like no one had been there for years. The lights above her flickered, making strange buzzing sounds. The hallway was empty. There were no signs, no people, no decorations, just one long hallway with a single door at the end. That door was slightly open, and it looked like something, or someone might be inside. Maya didn't know what to do. Her brain was telling her to go back into the elevator and press the G button again, to just go home. But something about that door, made her feel pulled toward it. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was something else. She took a deep breath and slowly walked down the hallway. Step, step, step. Every step echoed through the empty hallway. It was so quiet that she could hear her own breathing. She reached the door and carefully pushed it open. What she saw inside made her feel even more uneasy. It was a room, but not a normal room. The room was filled with mirrors. Mirrors were everywhere, on all the walls, from the floor to the ceiling. Some were broken, others were cracked. The light inside the room was dim and strange. It seemed like it was coming from nowhere. The air felt heavy, like it was hard to breathe. She took a step inside. As she looked around, she saw her reflection in all the mirrors. At first, everything seemed normal. She saw herself, tired, scared, confused. But then, something strange happened. She noticed that in one of the mirrors, her reflection was smiling, but she wasn't. Her real face was serious and full of fear, but her reflection had a creepy smile, wide and unnatural. Maya blinked. The smile was still there. Then, the reflection started to move. It tilted its head to one side. Maya didn't move her head. Then it raised its hand. But Maya's real hand stayed still. Now she knew for sure. This was not her reflection anymore. She gasped and turned around to run back to the elevator. But the door to the hallway slammed shut behind her with a loud bang. She ran to it and pulled on the handle, but it wouldn't open. It was locked. Now she was trapped. Inside a strange mirror room, on a floor that shouldn't exist. Then things got worse. From behind one of the mirrors she heard a voice, a soft, whispering voice that said, "Maya, Maya, don't leave me here." She froze. Her heart was beating fast. The voice sounded like her own voice, but also not. She turned back to face the mirrors. Now, all her reflections were moving on their own. Some were crying, some were laughing, some were just staring straight at her with blank, dead eyes. Suddenly, the mirrors started to bleed. A dark red liquid slowly dripped from the cracks in the glass. It wasn't normal blood. It was too thick, too black, like old ink mixed with something evil. The lights began to flicker faster. Then some of them burst and sparks flew down. Maya screamed. She backed into a corner, not knowing what to do. Her breath was shaking. Her hands were cold. Her mind was racing. Was she dreaming? Was this a nightmare? Then, all at once, everything went silent. The mirrors stopped moving. The lights went out. Darkness. And then, she heard footsteps. Slow, heavy, coming from somewhere inside the room. Step. 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 She couldn't see anything, but she could feel something. Someone. Getting closer. Something terrible was in that room with her. Last time, Maya was trapped in a strange room full of cracked and broken mirrors. Her reflections were moving on their own. One was smiling when she wasn't. Then she heard a voice call her name, and black liquid started dripping from the mirrors. Lights flickered, and then everything went dark. Now Maya stood in complete silence. But not for long. She heard something. Footsteps. Slow, heavy, and steady. They were getting closer. Step. 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 She couldn't see anything, but she felt a presence in the room. It felt like something evil was watching her, standing just out of sight. Maya backed into a corner, shaking. Her heart was racing. Her whole body felt cold. The air in the room was thick, like she couldn't breathe properly. Suddenly, the lights flickered back on, but just for a second. And in that second, she saw it. A tall, dark figure was standing behind one of the mirrors. Its body was thin and bony. Its skin looked like it was stitched together, like someone had sewn pieces from different people to make one creature. It had no eyes, just empty black holes where eyes should be. Yet somehow, it knew exactly where Maya was. She screamed, turned around, and ran. But there was nowhere to go. The mirrors were everywhere, and she couldn't find the door. The mirrors showed her, running. But in each reflection her face looked more twisted, more scared, and not quite human anymore. Then, the creature spoke. Its voice was low and rough. It said, "You shouldn't have come to floor 16. The voice echoed in the room like it came from every mirror at once. Maya covered her ears, dropped to her knees, and shut her eyes tight. She wanted to wake up. She wanted this to be a nightmare. She wanted to be anywhere but here. And then, silence. She slowly opened her eyes. Everything was normal again. The mirrors were gone. The room was gone. She was back inside the elevator. The lights were on. The button for ground floor, G, was glowing softly. She was alone again, standing in the middle of the elevator. The elevator made a soft ding and the doors opened. She was now on the ground floor. Just like that, it was over. She didn't waste a second. Maya ran out of the building as fast as she could. The night was still rainy and cold, but she didn't care. She just ran and ran until she got home. When she got home, she locked the door, turned on all the lights, and sat in the corner of her room for hours. She didn't know what had happened. Was it a dream, a trick, or something real? But deep inside, she knew it was real. And she thought it was over. But it wasn't. In the next few days, Maya tried to go back to her normal life. She went to work, smiled at people, and told no one about what she had seen. Who would believe her anyway? But then, something strange started happening. At home, every time she looked into a mirror, something felt wrong. At first, it was small things. Her reflection would blink a little too slowly, or her smile in the mirror would stay frozen for half a second after she had stopped smiling. Then, it got worse. One night, she looked into the bathroom mirror and saw something standing behind her. A tall figure, with a stitched face and black eye holes. But when she turned around, no one was there. Sometimes, her reflection would move, when she didn't. Once, she turned away from the mirror, and the reflection didn't move at all. It just stood there, staring at her back. Maya was terrified. She began covering all the mirrors in her house. She even stopped going into buildings with elevators, but the fear never left her. She felt like something was following her, watching her. She had touched something evil on floor 16, and now it was a part of her life, forever. So far, you know what happened. Maya took the elevator late at night and ended up on a mystery floor, floor 16. A floor that was not supposed to exist. She saw strange mirrors, her reflection acting on its own, and a scary stitched-face creature. Then suddenly she was back in the elevator like nothing happened. She thought it was over. But the horror had just begun. Days passed. Maya tried to live normally again. She told herself it was just a bad dream, or maybe her mind was playing tricks on her, but deep down, she knew the truth. Something from that floor had followed her. She stopped looking in mirrors. Every time she did, her reflection would do something strange. Smile when she wasn't smiling. Wave when her hands were still, or blink slowly like it was watching her. She even saw the creature in the background of the mirror. Just standing there, doing nothing, but somehow making her feel frozen with fear. So, She covered every mirror in her apartment. Bathroom, bedroom, hallway, all gone. She even avoided shop windows outside because they reflected her face too. But the fear didn't stop. One night, Maya had a dream. She was in an elevator again. It was moving up. Floor 12. Floor 13. Floor 14. Then she woke up. But her bedroom looked different. She walked to the door, opened it, and instead of the hallway, she saw the same mirror room from floor 16. She screamed and closed her eyes. When she opened them again, she was really back in her bed. It was just a dream. Or was it? Things kept getting worse. Her phone camera showed weird shadows behind her when she took selfies. Her voice on video recordings sounded slightly off, like it wasn't her talking. Then one day, while walking in another building for a meeting, Maya had to take an elevator again. She waited for it, feeling nervous. She didn't want to go in, but she couldn't avoid it. The stairs were blocked for repairs. The elevator opened. She stepped inside, her heart pounding. She pressed the button for the 3rd floor. The doors closed. Then, the elevator didn't stop at floor 3. Instead, it began to move up, past the 4th floor. Then the 5th, 6th. Maya's eyes filled with tears. She stared at the screen. The elevator didn't stop until it showed 16. The doors slowly opened. This time, she didn't scream. She didn't run. She just stood there, staring at the dark hallway. The same hallway. The one with the cracked walls, the broken light, and the dust. And deep inside, she knew something. She had been chosen. She stepped out of the elevator. The doors closed behind her. That was the last time anyone ever saw Maya. A week later, people at her office said she disappeared. Her phone was left at home. Her apartment door was locked from the inside. No one knew where she went. But strange things began to happen in that office building. Some people said, late at night, the elevator sometimes went to a 16th floor. Even though there were still only 15 floors listed on the map. A janitor once said he heard whispering in the elevator. Someone calling, "Help me, please." Another person claimed to see a girl standing inside the elevator on the CCTV camera. She looked scared. The next second, the elevator was empty. And here's the scariest part. It's not just that one building anymore. People in other cities, other countries, have said that late at night, in tall buildings, the elevator sometimes goes up to a floor that shouldn't be there. They say if it ever stops at floor 16 and the doors open, don't step out, because if you do, you may never come back, just like Maya. And that's the end of the story. Creepy, isn't it? So next time you're alone, in an elevator, and it starts going somewhere it shouldn't, just close your eyes and don't look in the mirrors ever again.